Good evening, and welcome to another edition of Randy's Wellness TV on Toronto TV. My name is Randy Rowett. I'm pleased to have you here with us tonight, and I'm also pleased to introduce to you Zib Contra. How are you tonight?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on the show.
It's a pleasure to have you here, and nice autumn time, fall time, nice time to get outside and look around in the nice cool weather, and we start our second season. So you're a certified hypnotherapist.
That's right.
And as part of our wellness program here, we cover a variety of health practitioners. And tell us what a certified hypnotherapist does.
A hypnotherapist is someone who practices hypnotherapy, which uses hypnosis to help people overcome personal issues. And some of the more popular things people know hypnosis is good for is stop smoking, lose weight, nail biting, getting rid of nail biting. I also deal with more emotional and traumatic things like assault and abuse, and generally though it's therapeutic, so people will be coming in to resolve some kind of issue in their life that they need help with.
So this could be a personal issue such as a crisis, or
that's right.
Or it could be a tragedy or an illness in a family member.
Yep, and it could be something as to help them with their work, like increasing their sales performance, or public speaking is fears and phobias are very easy to treat using hypnosis, and it only takes a couple of sessions, 2 to 3 sessions, and I find people recover very quickly. One of my clients actually had a really odd fear, and it was he was afraid. He had sleep apnea.
Oh, yes.
So he snores at night, and so he couldn't sleep, so he had to wear this mask.
Monitor, yes.
Yes, that's right. And he was afraid every time he put on the mask of suffocation or whatever it was.
Yes, that's a common fear of people with sleep apnea.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Okay, yes. And he said, I just can't do it. And he came to see me, and he just actually emailed me a few months ago, and he said that he's sleeping very great, and he referred me his dad.
Wow. So those are all health result benefits of a hypnotherapy program. Stopping smoking, crisis, emotional problems from the past, maybe some repressive situations.
Sure, some things do come out, although I don't generally go looking for things, because we can clear up stuff without having to go into the past.
Okay.
But some things that have been repressed do surface, and when they do manifest themselves and come out into consciousness, people find there's such a catharsis, and they feel much, much better.
So how did you become a certified hypnotherapist? What's the process there for somebody who wants to do that?
Well, they have lots of programs that you can take in Toronto. I myself went to California to get my training, and you learn what hypnosis is. You learn what hypnosis is a relaxed state of concentration. So we go into hypnosis every day, every time we go to bed, and every time we wake up. Just that kind of twilight zone.
I'm in a twilight zone at work. I'm in hypnosis sometimes, and my colleagues notice that. So, yes, a few cups of coffee really helps that for me in the morning. So,
yes. To zap you out of that state. But yeah, you will go to hypnosis several times a day.
Okay.
And so people don't know that it's a very natural state. So one of the first few things I teach people is to recognize what it is. And as a hypnotherapist, when we go to school, we learn what those states are and how to utilize them, and also how to induce them in people. And then once we learn to induce hypnosis or the hypnotic state in our clients, then we can give them suggestions. And in that hypnotic state, people are more open, because your conscious mind is the part that's always monitoring and evaluating and criticizing, and it's always thinking.
Right.
So that's the part we want to just turn off or just put to the side, and then we give suggestions and in the hypnotic state. And in that state, suggestions are taken in more readily by the unconscious mind.
So there's 2 factors there. One of them is the power of suggestion, and the other thing is a person has to voluntarily be willing to undergo that process.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, you can't force anyone to do hypnosis. You can't force anyone to do anything under hypnosis that doesn't fit with their model of the world, with their ethics, with their morals. So you're absolutely right. Some people actually come to hypnotherapists and expect, miracles, and expect us to wave a magic wand and change them. They say, change me, But unfortunately, I can't do anything. I can certainly guide them and provide them the way and give some suggestions. But ultimately, if they're really ready to change and want to change, they're going to accept those suggestions and then do something with it.
Now here's an interesting thing I saw. I was on a cruise ship once, and there is a difference here between a hypnotist and a hypnotherapist. I was on a cruise ship once, and they had this hypnotist there, and he was doing a stage show, and they had a bunch of people lined up, and one of them was like pretending he was a chicken, one was like it was crying and sobbing. Now that's the power of suggestion, but it's an entirely different scenario, isn't it?
Yes, my teacher, when we were learning hypnosis, he showed us the tape of himself actually being on a cruise ship doing that very
really?
same thing, and it was
Yeah.
very, very funny because he had a very big guy, muscular guy, bald body builder type of guy on stage, and he told the guy to imagine that he didn't have a butt, that he lost his butt, and it was the funniest thing because right
Fast
away,
diet.
yeah. He slid out of his chair
Okay.
because he had no butt to sit on.
Yes.
And then my teacher said, well, now you got to go around and ask who's got your butt. One of these other people who's got your butt. So he went around asking people. So I mean, I really, really enjoy that. That's a wonderful part of hypnosis that can
Yes,
entertain and amuse people. But as a hypnotherapist, we actually use hypnosis to create therapeutic change. And it was funny, like the day after that show, the guy who was the participant went up to my teacher. He said to my teacher, I spend a lot of time in the gym working on my glutes, and I have a big personal thing with it. And after you did that, I was able to laugh, and now I feel much better about just working out and just not being so concerned about the size.
So it
and
had some
everything.
therapeutic
Yeah, it
benefits
did.
for him. And that's the thing. I mean, with hypnotherapy too, I mean, the result from people, what they're displaying, what they're telling you, what the result is, this has overall benefits to their physical condition. It relieves tension, stress per se, once they work through the problems.
Yes. It's amazing what comes out in a session, because my session is not just one way where I put a client under and then I'm talking to them all the time. Some of my sessions I'm eliciting questions, so I'm eliciting answers, I'm eliciting ideas, and people forget a lot of things. I mean, we are inundated with information every day,
Yes,
and
we are.
although our unconscious mind absorbs and remembers everything, our conscious mind doesn't remember everything. We can only think of 5 to 7 things at a given time.
Right.
And under hypnosis, some of the things are related to the problem surface, and then once they surface and manifest themselves, people, it's like a mini catharsis. It's like a catharsis, and they feel much better.
So
after.
one root cause, and then you get a series of multi-conflicts which develop from that.
Sometimes,
Right. Yes. And how long are each sessions for clients that you see?
My first session is about an hour and a half, because I
Okay.
take about half the time to do an intake.
Is that assessment?
Assessment,
Yeah.
yes, and sometimes it takes longer, especially if someone's had a detailed history or they like to talk. And then the latter part of the session I spend explaining what hypnosis is, and making sure that they're comfortable and they're okay with it, and then we do a session.
Okay.
And then the subsequent sessions are about an hour, and we do about half an hour of hypnosis in each of those sessions.
And how really do they measure the results?
And results of the
the-
depth or
yes.
the depth of hypnosis?
Depth of them, yes.
Okay, that's a good question, because as hypnotherapists we are trained, because they're very minute things that we are looking for, very subtle things in the physiology. So for instance, when I'm asking someone, when I'm leading someone into hypnosis, I will ask them to take 3 deep breaths. So then I'm getting them to agree with the procedure. So they go and they do that, and then I'll ask them
Yes.
to look at a particular spot. I mean, I have so many different techniques, but one of my favorite ones is just to look at a spot that's comfortable for them, and they'll begin to look at that spot, and then their eyes will begin to get tired. My voice becomes a little bit slower, and I begin to just give them suggestions of relaxation.
State of relaxation,
Yeah.
calmness,
And then
yes.
I watch their eyes, and eventually it closes, and then their breathing changes. The hypnotic state also brings on their facial muscles are relaxed. The rest of their body is relaxed. The breathing is much more shallower. And so those are some of the signs. There's twitching, there's unconscious finger movements. So there's
Yes.
different things I'm looking for when I'm looking,
And people get all tensed up, and the treatment therapy helps to release that, and therefore you don't have the sideline symptoms too. Someone may grit their teeth, someone may have a clenched fist, and then they have sore hands. There's all kinds of things that can happen, right?
Sure,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Everyone always comes out of hypnosis, no matter what. Some people fall asleep in my sessions because it's so relaxing.
Then I should go there. I need sleep.
But everyone
Yes.
comes out, they may come in very nervous because they don't know what to expect, but they come
Okay.
out feeling like they're taking a nice nap and very relaxed, and it's very hard for them to leave the couch. And I just tell
Wow.
them that they're welcome to stay. They want to pay me an extra hour. And woo, they get out of there quickly.
Now, how about a hypothetical situation? Let's say I was a person that came to you for therapy, hypnotherapy, and let's say I was dealing with a problem related to diet per se, maybe the wrong kinds of food, maybe binge eating or something. How would you treat that from a hypnotherapy standpoint?
Okay, I would find out why you think you're doing it, and eating these particular foods. I would find out when you're doing it, what circumstances, what environmental situation you're in, whether it's stress related.
Yes.
So I would find out all the I guess preliminaries to find out where and what and how you're experiencing these things. And then using that information, I would craft suggestions, or I would tell you a story, an anecdote of some sort, and under hypnosis, and then I would give suggestions for you to avoid certain things, pay more attention to those trigger points,
Right.
so that when you're out of hypnosis and you're in that situation the next time, you have a choice now. You don't have to binge eat. You don't have to do what you used to do. All of a sudden you have these other choices.
And of course, with that, certain symptoms develop. Like you get people who are traumatized or have a very emotional conflicts, and these things are real big symptoms that come out as a result of maybe that diet experience. Maybe there's something in the emotional background which is causing them to eat wrong or something like that.
When you're dealing with food, usually there's an
Yes.
emotional issue. It's not so much with smoking, but habits like nail biting, stuttering is an emotional issue, usually
Yes.
founded when you were from some traumatic incident when you were a child. So yeah, definitely there's a lot of emotional catharsis that comes out, and people, some people will cry, but that doesn't really change the depth of the trance. They're able to express their emotions and speak about it.
And that's a little bit different because there's a variety of health and wellness applications out there and disciplines, one of which is psychotherapy. So in that aspect, how would hypnotherapy differ from psychotherapy?
Okay, that's a very good question. Psychotherapy is a much broader scope of practice, and psychotherapists in the States are trained, especially some of the very, very good ones, are trained in hypnosis. And it really should be brought into Canada. And what the understanding is that hypnosis is not a therapy in itself, it's a technique. So many psychotherapists have many different techniques
Right.
that they use, and using hypnosis is one of the techniques they might use. So hypnosis is like a little tool in that toolbox they have.
Yes.
So so they may use hypnotherapy or hypnosis to get to a problem much faster, because under hypnosis you can remember things.
So it would be more aggressive in terms of capturing the data that's required.
It produces a lot results much faster, and it's much more successful than other traditional techniques like cognitive therapy or behavioral therapy.
Behavioral therapy, yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah. So I hope the movement. I think it'll take time, but the movement of psychotherapists using hypnosis will come to Canada.
How
with
many
time.
certified hypnotherapists are there in Canada? Do you know?
I don't know, but I think at least a few
Yeah.
thousand.
A few thousand?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
And it's really an interesting thing because people really have to consider when they're trying to seek assistance or get help for somebody. The natural route like this is the way to go sometimes. People don't want to go to have drugs or extensive psychotherapy. Maybe they want a different approach which is useful in obtaining those results.
Yeah. Well, actually, hypnosis is the last resort.
Really?
Yep. Well, it's always traditionally been the last resort. People try everything else,
Excuse me.
and then when nothing else works, oh, I'm so desperate, I'll call a hypnotherapist.
Okay.
And then, but it's changing now with education, people becoming more aware of their options, aware of the alternative health benefits out there, other practitioners offering their services. So I'm finding some people, for instance, I just had a client who has a 5-year-old who bites his nails quite aggressively.
So some kind of nervous or anxiety situation, maybe.
Yes, yes. And I asked her if she'd gone to see a doctor. She said no, she hasn't, and I'm really the first person, the first stop that she's made to deal with this problem.
There's a hidden cause.
Yeah, I think it's emotional based because there's something that happened when he was younger. But it's nice to know that it's definitely getting out there. People becoming more knowledgeable and aware of their options.
Great. Now, why don't you just, for our viewers out there, demonstrate a scenario where you're doing hypnotherapy for somebody? I guess you could use your own subject, or you could use me, or whatever you prefer. Is that possible?
Okay. Do you want to be a subject?
Well,
or
sure.
do you want me to?
Or you can.
I can show you what I observe in people.
That would be good. Yes.
Okay.
Just so our audience has a better understanding of this
Okay.
discipline. Yes.
All right. Sure. One of my favorite techniques I use, especially with men, because men have issues of control, of letting go of control. And
listen, everybody, I am not a control freak, okay? Anyway.
And so this technique I use lets people be in control of their own hypnotic state. And what I'll ask them to do is I'll ask them to relax and just sit comfortably, uncross their legs, and then just extend their arm like this, and just to look at a spot. And you can try this at home anytime. Don't do this in the car though.
Yeah, not a good idea when you're driving.
And to just look a spot in their hand, and I'll tell them to realize that they are in complete control of the situation, and that they control their hypnotic rate in which they go into hypnosis or go into trance. And all they do is to continue to look at their finger or a spot in their hand, and they begin to notice that their hand is feeling different. And right now I feel my hand is, beginning to feel numb.
Heavy?
Numb, yeah, a little bit numb. And numbness, by the way, is a hypnotic phenomenon. You can create anesthetic or analgesic abilities.
Yes, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah.
And you can actually relieve pain that way as well.
Relieve pain, yes,
Right,
absolutely. Yeah. So then now I just tell them that they may begin to feel that their arm is weighing down on them, and they'll want to naturally begin to lower their hand, and they can lower it at the rate at which they feel most comfortable, and the rate at which it goes down is the rate at which they're entering hypnosis, and the rate at which they're going into trance, so comfortably in their own way, whatever works best for them.
Right.
And I could ask them to continue to notice the breathing, and to continue to watch their fingers.
Yeah, it's a very calm motion and
That's
very
right.
calm instructing technique.
That's right.
Yes, to help them to just relax.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And then at some point, their arm will go down and just touch their thigh. And at that point, they can just close their eyes and go deeper.
And do a lot of these people fall asleep?
Some people fall asleep, depending. It's very, usually within, a lot of my new clients fall asleep, which I find very, very
Because they're
bizarre, because they have never experienced hypnosis
and they
before.
could be very relaxed coming
but they're,
in.
yeah,
Maybe they're
but
comfortable.
They're very, exactly.
Yes.
It shows me they're very comfortable, and they're in rapport with me, and they trust this process, and they're really in tune with themselves. And so, yeah, people do fall asleep because, again, hypnosis is the alpha state, the hypnotic state is right before you fall asleep.
Right.
So it's a natural state. And then at that point, I'll just watch the breathing and instruct them to go a little bit deeper. And then we begin the therapy.
Well, I promise not to drive home and put myself under therapy when I go home tonight. That wouldn't be good on the highway.
No, you need to be awake on the highway.
That's right. So, what are your achievements in terms of where you want to go from here in terms of being a hypnotherapist?
That's a great question. I am going to school I'm going to graduate school to become a psychotherapist, because hypnotherapists are limited in what they can do.
So you're going the other way now too, is psychotherapy.
Right, because I'd like to do more.
Perfect.
Things. Yes,
Yes.
I'd like to do more of the serious stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, as hypnotherapists, we really can only help people with habits, control, self-confidence, fears and phobias. But, you know, when you get into some of the really deep stuff, you need to be licensed, you need to have solid education. So I'd like to get into graduate school, and I'm doing some of my prerequisites for that right now at U of T.
Perfect. And I guess somebody with a psychology background would be a benefit.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Now I'm understanding a lot of the reasons why I'm observing some of those hypnotic phenomenons, because I understand what part of the brain is controlling it. So it gives me a really broad perspective and a holistic, perspective of the whole thing. And I'd like to be able to contribute to the field by doing research, maybe writing a paper.
Yeah.
Something
exploratory
yes,
and research to help the most people
yes.
benefit from the discipline of hypnotherapy.
Yes, and one of the things I've actually
Yes.
experimented with is anxiety, exam anxiety, because my previous experience has been in education.
Student jitters.
Yep.
Yes.
So I help a lot of kids overcome fears of writing exams and going blank and being nervous. So I'd like to be able to find something to contribute in that field.
Right. Now you mentioned something about an analgesic effect, and I actually have that capability where I can actually, I have a tight muscle that seizes up sometimes, and I can actually loosen up. I feel my leg getting warmer, and I kind of create that.
So
that
you're already
condition.
doing hypnosis.
To
You're already
a degree,
doing
I am. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're basically giving yourself self-suggestion.
Yes.
So that's excellent.
Thank you. Where can people reach you for the purposes of getting a consultation?
Sure, I give free consultations.
Okay.
I have a website, and
Okay.
you can reach me at thenewU.ca.
ThenewU.ca.
And that's
Okay.
spelled with YOU at the end.
Okay.
Or you can call me at 905-812-9500.
And that's how you will get the benefits of hypnotherapy. A relatively new field, isn't it?
No, it's been
Isn't it?
around for ever since.
I guess it's one of the original natural, new in terms of the modern,
Mainstream.
the way they look at it, yes.
Yes.
But in terms of tradition, it's one of the more historical, disciplines of medicine, natural medicine.
Yes, it was
Yes.
here way before medicine
Right.
was discovered. It was
Traditional.
Yes.
Yes.
But they've only made advances and understood a little bit more about it in the last 100 years or so, and we still don't
Yes.
know what causes hypnosis. We don't know the process. There's still a lot of
But it
things
works.
to learn. It works, yeah. That's what counts.
Zib, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Randy.
Zib Pantra is a certified hypnotherapist, and we thank her very much for joining us today. And for any information on the programs here on Toronto TV, go to www.torontotv.org. You can email at info@torontotv.org. And I want to say a special hello there to a good fan of our programs, and that's Hazel. If she's watching tonight, a wonderful person, so hi to Hazel. Thank you for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you again next time on another edition of my program, Randy's Wellness TV on Toronto TV. Take care.